In today's video, we are going to be assembling and maybe putting to work this 68-inch hydraulic offset flail mower, which recently was delivered to us from MechMaxx. You can see how nice it came shipped. It's been a long time, if at all ever, I received an item package this well, and that the carrier actually didn't damage at all. So you can see how nice this looks. So the reason we got this is to replace the brush hog, which needed to be replaced after we upgraded the tractor. We need something a little bit bigger, so I was contemplating whether or not to go with another rotary cutter or flail mower. Based on our applications, I think a flail kind of may fit the bill a little better, but we'll find out. After some research, I found this one. It was at a really good price point, especially compared to some of the other ones that look very similar. So I went online to try to find some reviews of it, and there weren't many available. So this will probably be one of the first. The instructions look pretty simple, famous last words, but we're gonna get this going. I'll probably just do a time lapse of that because that's this isn't an assembly video. But yeah, so let's get started on that, and we'll let you know what we think. So here we are. We got this pretty much set up, I think. I'm going to take it for a quick test run. I got some grass and bushes, vines, some things I'm going to clean up. So what we end up doing is, on top of the standard assembly, we end up setting this to its highest setting, I should say. So it's cutting at the highest. So that's this here. And then running these at their highest settings as well. I'm guessing it's probably a few inches off the ground, but for the type of cutting that we do, that's what we're looking for. So everything here looks nice and solid, rotating well. All these the nuts are good. Also went through and torqued all of these, these nuts and bolts out here. The owner's manual, which was nice, it actually sent you a paper copy, includes everything you need. So it has all the torque specs for each bolt, each type of bolt, so that's very handy. Again, these the hydraulic lines have to be tightened. The only one thing I did change is in here, I put a put on a 90 degree grease fitting, just because it was tough to get my grease gun in here. So, but yep, the hydraulics, everything works nice and smooth. We will head out now and just like I said, test this out real quick, and then we got some better cutting, some more cutting to do with it this weekend. All right, well, I'm actually pretty happy with that. You'll probably see from the video, the one thing I didn't want to happen, and the reason I was setting this up high was so I didn't want to catch any rocks. I've read some reviews that some of these flail mowers don't like rocks, like anything else. Yeah, you know, wrecks the hammer. But this was a pretty decent rock, and these I looked through all these hammers, and they held up really well. I wasn't. We hit dirt a couple times, and these all look pretty good. Where was that one that hit it? So that rock,
it was right around the center over here, but all it had was a little bit of stone dust on it.
Yeah, the hammers held up really well to that.
I think when it hit something really hard, they just flop back.
Yeah,
because they're so free, they're moving so loose and freely in here.
So one of the other nice things about this too is you won't see on some of the other models, and my dad pointed out, is I don't know if I'll be able to get this with the camera, but this edge here, it's not just like the tin sheet metal. It actually has angle iron to support this edge, so when you're backing into things like I was doing, you're not going to be denting this edge. So that's a real nice feature on this too. It's heavy duty, so I know I only got a couple passes on it so far, but I'm liking what I'm seeing. This stuff is pretty nasty over here. It's all vines. It's not long, but it turned this into mulch. So that's nice. And then the thick stuff over here, it chopped this down pretty nice too. It just mulched it. It's almost like a mulcher.
You have to have the bucket on for sure if you went through that stuff.
Yeah, to push this, to push this stuff down. But you can see, this is that's what all this stuff was this. So if it goes over, it'd cut it. And honestly, I wouldn't want to go over anything much thicker than that with the tractor. But let's go take a look and see how this does with some thicker grass. So here's the next little patch of grass we're gonna do. Just trying to get a couple samples here to see how this cuts. Most of our fields are already cut this year because it's getting late, but yeah, so this is pretty thick stuff. We wouldn't be cutting any higher than this. Usually we cut it beforehand, but we gotta clean up this section here and then the field edge over here. So let's get to it, see how it does. All right, and this is the result. You can see some of these are pretty thick. So the hammers did a nice job. I'm happy with it. Yeah, we'll wrap this up. I gotta get the tractor back home and we'll finish up at home. But I'm happy with it, and it's definitely nice mowing in a cab. I'm back home now. We got the cutting that we were gonna do today all done. And most of our brush hogging was completed earlier, but there were some loose ends that we could wrap up. And I'd really, after getting this, I really wanted to hook it up and see what it could do. So as you can see in the video, we did a little bit of everything. There's not a lot of volume, obviously, because like I mentioned, we had all the brush hogging done, but we had some thick grass. We had some pretty decent sized saplings. stuff that I wouldn't run over on the tractor without the bucket. And it cut it better than I expected. I wasn't sure what to expect. It's my first flail mower, and I was torn whether or not to go with another rotary cutter or this, but I figured I'd give this a shot because we do a lot of, you know, right now most of the thick stuff that we cut is already completed, and so we do a lot of grass, a lot of fields, and most of those they're already cleared of debris. So but again, I want to be able to cut some of that stuff down and have an implement that could cut some thick brush down if needed, and this seems to fit the bill. I'm happy with how these held up. Again, this is my first time with the flail mower, so there's a little bit of a learning curve to it, and I know I bit dirt sometimes and hit a couple rocks, and this held up great. So impressions. One thing I did forget to mention is this tractor is rated for 28 horsepower, and this implement recommends 30 horsepower minimum, but I wanted the width of this and the hydraulic offset, so I figured I would give it a shot, and I'm glad I did, because again, not like we were mowing 6 foot tall wet grass, but the grass at the, you know, towards the end, that was pretty, you know, that was tall, that was taller than anything we'd cut for first cut anyway. So definitely happy with the way it performed, and happy I went with this, because again, like I mentioned, it was a pretty decent savings compared to some of the other brands, and actually looking at it in person, it's definitely beefier than some of the more expensive brands. Like we mentioned, the reinforcement here, these are nice. These held up well for the couple times that they were dinged, even off camera. So very happy with this so far. I know that volume wise we haven't had a lot of cutting, but we had a decent mixture. So let's talk about overall impressions as far as whether I'd buy again, or how the purchasing side of things went. I bought this online, I believe, on a Thursday night. I got confirmation early Friday morning, and then by Monday I received a shipping notification that it was a tracking number was assigned to it, and by the time the tracking information actually hit, it was pretty much here. So this was delivered on Wednesday. You saw how it was packaged. I had a lot of items shipped through freight, and I don't know if any of them were packaged like this was, and that's a good thing. So there's no damage in shipping. I mean, I think that's probably a testament to the carrier as well, because that's, some of them can be pretty rough on equipment. But the crate that this was in was solid. The hardware that held it together was good quality as well. I'm actually going to be reusing them, because we all know how expensive grade 8 bolts and washers are. So shipping, great. Let's talk about assembly. So I said it in the beginning of this video, this wasn't going to be a unpackaging video. I don't have interest in those, but this went together well. A lot of times you have to look online for the manual, but this did come with paper instructions. All the hardware, the nuts, bolts, the holes, everything aligned. There wasn't any MacGyvering or any torquing. Everything went together smooth. So it's a decent amount of money to invest when you're not sure what to expect, and I'm glad I did, because this is definitely heavier duty than I thought it was going to be. It makes me a lot more comfortable with purchasing something else. Again, the responsiveness, they actually have parts online that are still available, so especially items like this, the hammers that are a wear item that will need to be replaced, the belts, those are available. I know I'll probably end up picking up just an extra set of belts and hammers for when we're next year when we're mowing. It's very easy to access this, even though this panel doesn't open up. It's very simple to replace these and to get access. That was something I didn't know what to expect either. So overall, very satisfied with this. I will keep everybody updated with how it performs, or if I run into any other issues later on, but I'm hoping not, and I'm guessing not. I mean, it looks like everything's pretty heavy duty. So feel free to reach out and leave a comment if you have any questions. So I'll leave a link where you could find this and some other equipment from MechMaxx. And thanks for watching.